to be able to get all that down. And hopefully when the album drops, everybody else will feel the same.
Honestly, I think a lot of people are going to be bumping the new album for sure.
I hope so, man.
Hope so. Yeah. That's the hope.
I think it's just, because it's all new songs, right?
Yeah.
And there you go. I mean, people want to hear new shit, and
right.
I think in most recent years, people are actually kind of giving a chance to like the newer bands.
It's changing. No, it's changing, and I still consider us a newer band, like because. Right. Yeah, I think what you're saying is true. Like, it is changing. I think after a while we were like, fuck it, let's just make our own crowd. Let's do our own thing. That's kind of why I started the label. Like, I was tired of asking for, bigger labels' attention. I was tired of trying to get bigger bands' attention. And, it's great. And those are a lot of our heroes and bands we look up to and respect. But also, like, we want to do our own thing. And I think, people are starting to give that more of a chance as of late.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Just talking about that made me think of a particular moment during one of our shows. We were playing with Less Than Jake at Rock and Roll Hotel. Mm-hmm. I forget the year. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But I remember during our set, we were obviously one of the opening bands, and we were there was a good crowd. Like, it is packed out by the time we started playing. Yeah. And I remember just seeing folks like up front who clearly weren't there for us. Like, they had gotten up front for Less Than Jake to get ready. Like, they staked out their spot. Yeah. And by the end of our set, they were kind of like singing along with gang vocals and stuff. Yeah. These people who clearly didn't come to get into us and learn about what we do. They were receptive. And
yeah,
I think that
won them over in real time.
Yeah, like it's something I feel like I didn't see up until that point. Obviously, being on a show with Less Than Jake was a big part of that, and it was cool. It's a cool thing to sort of experience.
Yeah,
during a performance. Right.
I will say though, speaking of more established bands and our scene and being from DC, the Pie Tasters have always been very generous to us and have given us a huge leg up, putting us on shows and helping us out, and they've been nothing but supportive from not necessarily from day one, but from the time that we were starting to get on people's radars, they've been really helpful to us. So it's been great. They've been so supportive.
Yeah, they've been awesome. Mm-hmm.
But I would say, as far as established bands, they definitely keep their ear to the streets. Mm-hmm. But it's no surprise that they definitely look out for you guys, because I'm sure they have some type of say when they're letting bands open for them or not,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And they're very hands-on with their booking. So, to have them pay attention is great, and over the years, it's gotten to be more of a friendship. So it's cool. They're good people.
The album's coming in August. I forget, was it August 7th or 8th?
August 7th, yep. Okay. Video for the song Ignorance is Bliss. That's dropping tomorrow, and tomorrow is what? It's July...
July...
Shit.
I don't even know.
8th?
Tomorrow's July 9th. Yeah, July 9th.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool, man. I mean, is it something you guys shot while everybody came out to Cali, or was it something kind of different?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big, like, we had all these plans, at least in my head, I had a lot of plans for music videos and ideas and shit, but obviously we're not doing any of that. We were supposed to go on a big tour in August. It's all not happening. But what we did do for this video is I had kind of a weird concept. That's not that weird, but it's kind of cool. And we all shot our own thing and put it together. And it's not really like one of those quarantine videos. I think it's a little different. I think people will enjoy it. It's kind of fun. We got to all dance and have fun. And
it's not a quarantine video where everyone kind of waves at first, like.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, it's not like that. Yeah.
That's cool though, man. I picked up on the bad copy interview. You guys were gonna do the tour with a Japanese band. Mm-hmm. What were they called?
Free Kick. Yeah. Okay. Free Kick was going to come out here. We went to Japan last year and toured with Free Kick and SMN and a bunch of the bands on the label 1138. And we just had the best fucking time in the world. It was amazing. It was Free Kick's an amazing band. SMN's an amazing band. And we made such good friends with them. We wanted to have them come out here this year. We had SMN come out, and we did tour with SMN last fall in the U.S. and we went to Fest with them. But Free Kick was supposed to come out this August, but that all got canceled, so it's a huge bummer. But we'll pick it up next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you guys have toured Japan. Have you guys been to any other countries or just U.S. and Japan?
Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
That's about it.
That's it. Yeah.
So U.S., Canada, Japan, and just those three?
Yeah, just those three for now.
So like, what's the contrast in terms of like, you know, going on tour in the U.S. when you guys head to Canada, and how was it in Japan? I mean, any stories you guys maybe want to share? I mean, you know, if it gets too personal, don't worry about it.
It got pretty personal.
Stories.
No, I think like Japan, like we had heard that ska punk was popular in Japan before we went, right? And we knew there were a lot of good Japanese ska punk bands, like very talented Japanese ska punk bands. And like we were definitely not disappointed. Like the shows were like, for us being a band that had never been there and just from a different country, like I think when we go on tour, usually like maybe not recently, but for the past couple of years, like I never have super high expectations in a city we've never been to, right? Yeah. If we've never been in Kansas City, like I don't expect a lot of people to come out. So if we've never been to Tokyo, like I don't expect anybody to come out because who the hell are we? Right. But like people just showed up to all those shows. They were packed. Like crowds were crazy. Like it was a really good time.
The crowds were absolutely crazy, super into it. I think the key distinction that I would say, the word would just be professionalism, whether that be the bands that seem to take it more seriously than a lot of bands do here, but also the venues where like you show up and they have your stage plot set. They know how they're going to do the lighting for your songs. They've already listened to your songs, and you know, just the professionalism that all the venues are bringing to the table. It blew us all away, really.
Yeah, big time. And all the bands, like they got their shit together.
Cool.
But I know in Japan, like they pay the sound person to be there, like, you know, all day basically. Right. So it's like just a different support for the arts in general. I'd say maybe. Rather than a difference of like of attitude, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't seem like, you know, that's an isolated thing, like just in Japan. Like it's like you said, I think it's just that level of appreciation outside of the U.S. is just greater. Hopefully we can experience that sooner rather than later.
For sure. We need to go to Mexico. I mean, hell yeah, we really do.
I was just talking to a band from Colombia, and they were explaining like the scene down there, and it sounds kind of a lot like Japan. Actually, I'm just like, oh, shit, man.
It's a level of appreciation. It sounds like, and I mean, there are absolutely people in the U.S. that appreciate the music and that care about it, and you know, venues that care about it. But it just seems like it's a more general attitude. It's a smaller conglomerate out here in the U.S. For sure.
You feel me? And like, for example, like a lot of those bands either just move on, or those musicians just kind of go and do different things, because again, those backyard shows are always popping, always cracking, but you know, they're either free or like $2 to get in, and there's really just no money left over for the bands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So there's always some sort of disconnect. Or, you know, here's a different example, not necessarily the same in terms of crowd, but more like industry wise. Like for example, you were just talking about how the sound guy or how the sound people get paid in Japan, you know, like a salary almost. I was talking to an artist, and she was explaining to me that it's cheaper for singer-songwriters to come to the U.S. and use backing bands in each city. It's cheaper for them to do it on a budget, because there's not a huge expectation to pay U.S. musicians a whole lot of money. They'll do it sometimes for free. You know what I'm saying? Right. In Jamaica, whenever she schedules any type of studio time, she always has to pay the studio musicians at least $1,000 before they walk in. Right. Like I can't even picture that. You know what I'm saying? At least not present day, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like food. Maybe you speak that you're a gigging musician. You gig a lot. You know, just outside the band. Like
it's tough. Like it's just a completely different career, and you know, it's just completely different from how it was even 30 years ago. You know, like you know, people could make a living and raise a family and buy homes playing music, and not necessarily being like a front man, you know, writing tunes and being the face of a band. You could be like some side guy, or you could, you know, just hit studios and you know, make a living. And nowadays it's like far and few between. You know, you can't. It's not easy to do that. Yeah, it's just something that for some reason has just faded away in America, at least.
So you gig around a lot? Is it just you gig around, or?
Yeah, I mean, I you know, I do various other gigs around pretty much between DC and Baltimore, playing some cover bands, playing some reggae bands around town. One of the big ones, Scotch Bonnets out of Baltimore. It's a pretty good reggae group.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, we all kind of like, everybody in that scene kind of gets around another band, so it's all like, you know, the same circle. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to make this your sole source of income.
Scotch Bonnets. I feel like I saw you guys on a flyer for a festival, for like an easycore festival years ago.
Oh yeah, they do all kinds of stuff.
Were you there when they came or no?
Probably no. I don't think I was.
It was here in LA. That's what I mean.
Yeah. No, I wasn't there then. I pretty much stick with them around town. You know, hitting the road just isn't profitable. Gotcha. So it's I gotta pick my battles. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hit with them around town a bunch. But I try to get out and about when I can. And that includes, you know, doing some remote recording, like I mentioned earlier.
I think in Kill Lincoln, like, we've all kind of like, I think I was talking about this some other time, but like, we've all kind of settled into what our roles are in the band, and have all just decided to excel in those things. So like, you know, I think there was probably a point maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, where we would all try to just like, you know, you couldn't make a decision or couldn't bring anything else up without everybody getting 100%, you know, just like getting everybody's thoughts about every single thing. But now it's like, all right, like opportunity comes along, it'll be like, hey, we're going to do this unless anybody has a big objection. Everyone's like, yeah, cool, sounds good. You know, it's like, all right, great. It's just like, you got to simplify things a little bit. You got to let somebody just like, you know, tackle the tedious shit and just get on with the fun stuff.
So in the band, who tackles the tedious shit? Is that you or?
That's me.
That's that guy.
I like it though. I like the tedious shit, so that's okay. I mean, I like that challenge. I mean, this band is like one of the most important things in my life, you know, and these guys in the band, you know, they're my best friends. So I'm happy to put it in the work. Like my day job, like not so much, but this stuff, if I'll stay up all night and work on Kill Lincoln stuff, I don't care. You know, it's like that shit makes me happy, so I'm happy to deal with it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Tyler, are you is Kill Lincoln the only band that you're drumming for right now, or are you drumming for any band or any other bands right now?
Yeah, I think one band is probably the limit of how many bands I can convince to let me drum for them. So.
Why is that, bro? I'm missing the
he's being modest.
I mean, Food has legitimate chops that are in demand. I just kind of...
It's probably got the biggest chops out of anybody in the band, I think. Well, CJ's got some chops too, but
yeah, CJ rips, man.
But Food has some like classically trained chops, big chops.
Don't tell nobody.
Nah, I mean, I was listening to all your guys' shit. I mean, like none of it is none of it is cookie cutter. You know what I'm saying? None of it is like, it's not like expected ska punk. You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I was intentional. I mean, we like when me and Matt Hotes, who was also one of the original members of the band, one of the original horn players, when we started writing a lot of the earlier songs. That was like one of the things we always talked about was like, we don't want this to just sound like every basic ass knockoff band. Like, if we'd write something and it would be like too much like something we'd heard, we'd be like, nah, throw it out. That's why we had a lot of like 5-minute long songs, you know?
Yeah.
But I'd say more recently with a lot of the writing that me and you know, Food have been doing, we've kind of like distilled that into like shorter, punchier, like just more energized version of that same mission. It's like do it differently, but like we've kind of like nailed that idea down a little bit more.
I think we have just a breadth of influences that ranges well beyond ska, and we bring different interests to the table musically that just kind of keeps it fresh and keeps it different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, like kind of to piggyback off that, when you talk about the different influences, I hear a lot of pop punk-esque sound, you know, a lot of hardcore, a lot of easycore, I guess, you know, if you want to get technical.
Yeah.
You guys,
I started off more in that easycore kind of thing. Like I was really into like, I mean, I've always been into like bands, ska punk bands like the Boss Tones and Catch 22, but I was at the time like listening to a lot of like Set Your Goals and like Newfound Glory and Movie Life and all that kind of like seeped into that early writing, and you know, then bolstered on by bands like who were also kind of doing that like We Are the Union, you know. Right. But I think as of more recently, like taking on more of that hardcore, like melodic hardcore influence, like, you know, the Kid Dynamite, Lifetime, like we, you know, like Tyler, you were saying in maybe another interview or something, but like a bunch of us have this Jersey background. We've got this like Jersey punk hardcore scene, you know, like background, and like that we always feel like we're trying to like fight to impress maybe. But it's like that Jersey, like, you know, that like